Paradoxes are puzzles that twist logic into knots. They seem simple until they reveal something deeply wrong with how we think. Today, we're diving into 20 layers of paradoxes, each one stranger than the last. Layer 1. The Barber Paradox. There's a barber in a small town. He shaves every man who does not shave himself, and only those who don't. So, who shaves the barber? If he shaves himself, he breaks the rule. If he doesn't, he still breaks the rule. This paradox, by Bertrand Russell, shows how simple logic can collapse when self-reference is involved. Layer 2. The Liar Paradox. This statement is false. If it's true, then it's false. If it's false, then it must be true. It can't be either. It can't be both. This is the classic liar paradox. It reveals how language can become a trap, especially when it talks about itself. Layer 3. Achilles and the Tortoise. Achilles, the fastest man alive, races a tortoise. He gives it a head start. To catch it, Achilles must reach the point where the tortoise was. But by then, the tortoise has moved forward, again and again, forever. So how can Achilles ever catch up? Zeno's paradox challenges our understanding of motion using infinity. Layer 4. The Paradox of Value. Water is essential to life. Diamonds are not. So why are diamonds expensive and water cheap? This is the paradox of value. The answer: marginal utility. Water is everywhere, so one more glass isn't worth much. Diamonds are rare, so each one feels precious. Layer 5. The Ship of Theseus. You replace every part of a ship over time. Is it still the same ship? Then build another ship from the original parts. Which one is the real Ship of Theseus? It asks, what makes something itself? Its parts? Or its story? We change constantly. Are we still the same person? Layer 6. The Grandfather Paradox. You invent a time machine. You go back and prevent your grandfather from meeting your grandmother. Now your parent is never born, so you are never born. But then, how did you go back in time? This is the Grandfather Paradox. It shows how time travel can break causality. Layer 7. The Omnipotence Paradox. Can an all-powerful being create a rock so heavy it cannot lift it? If yes, it's not all-powerful. If no, it's still not all-powerful. This paradox exposes the limits of language when describing infinite power. Layer 8. The Bootstrap Paradox. You find a copy of Beethoven's music and travel back in time to give it to him. He publishes it and you find it again centuries later. Who wrote the music? This is the Bootstrap Paradox, when information loops through time with no origin. Layer 9. Newcomb's Paradox. You're offered two boxes. Box A has $1,000. Box B has either $0 or $1 million. A predictor already guessed your choice. If it predicted you'd take only box B, the million is there. If it predicted both, box B is empty. Do you trust the prediction or take both? This paradox pits logic against intuition. Layer 10. The Simulation Paradox. If advanced civilizations can run perfect simulations and simulate billions of lives, then statistically, we are probably in one. This is the simulation hypothesis. Everything you see, feel, and think might be part of a program, and we might never know. Layer 11. The Paradox of the Ravens. You want to prove that all ravens are black, so you look for black ravens. But even seeing a green apple helps, because it's a non-black thing that isn't a raven. This is the paradox of the ravens. Logic can stretch into absurdity. Layer 12. The Unexpected Hanging Paradox. A prisoner is told he'll be hanged next week, and it will be a surprise. He tries to figure out the day, but when it comes, he's still surprised. This paradox shows how trying to predict unpredictability leads to contradiction. Layer 13. The paradox of tolerance. If a society is completely tolerant, should it tolerate intolerance? If it does, intolerance might destroy tolerance. If it doesn't, is it still tolerant? This paradox shows how values can conflict with themselves. Layer 14. The Sorites paradox. One grain of sand is not a heap. Add one more, still not a heap. So when does it become one? This is the Sorites paradox, where small changes make a big problem for logic. Layer 15. Russell's paradox. Imagine a set that contains all sets that do not contain themselves. Does it contain itself? If it does, it shouldn't. If it doesn't, it should. This paradox shook the foundations of mathematics. Layer 16. The lottery paradox. You believe each lottery ticket will lose because the odds are low. So you believe all of them will lose, but one of them wins. This paradox shows how reasonable beliefs can still clash. Layer 17. The two envelopes paradox. You're given two envelopes. One has twice the money of the other. Should you switch? No matter what, it seems like switching is better. But switching forever makes no sense. This paradox plays tricks with expectation. Layer 18. The heap paradox. You have a beard. Remove one hair. You still have a beard. Do this again and again. At some point, it's not a beard. But when did that happen? This version of the Sorites paradox shows how vague boundaries create logical problems. Layer 19. The teletransportation paradox. A machine scans your body, destroys it, and rebuilds you somewhere else. You appear identical in every way. But is it still you? This is the teletransportation paradox. It questions identity, continuity, and the self. Layer 20. The paradox of free will. If every choice is caused by something before it, do we have free will? If not, are we just following a script? This paradox challenges the idea of human freedom. Paradoxes aren't just mental tricks. They show the edges of logic, the limits of reason, and sometimes cracks in reality itself. Which paradox blew your mind? Subscribe for more mind-bending journeys.